Well, a very good afternoon to you watching the Daily Service Delivery Gauge here on SABC 1 as well as the SABC News channel. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm alone in studio this afternoon. Mxolisi Masango is out in Olivenhout Bosch. He's monitoring what the situation is there regarding service delivery. We'll go to him live very shortly as he speaks to community members ahead of the local government elections coming up on Monday. So we're asking you today, what's your understanding of the process that takes place between you casting your vote and then the declaration of those results? What is the process? You could send your video clips to 083-272-8341. I'm Criselda Lewis. A very good afternoon to you once again. And also signing for us is Fortune Matlala. Let's start the program. Well, a very good afternoon to you once again. On the cusp of South Africa's local government elections, co-anchor Mxolisi Masango is out in Olivenhout Bosch here in Johannesburg this afternoon, and he's basically gauging what service delivery is like in that area. Mxolisi, a very good afternoon to you. We've been to that area several times as SABC News. A number of protests over lack of service delivery. What are you gauging on the ground this afternoon?
Well, Criselda, that's indeed correct. You know, you took those words right out of my mouth. And of course, from some of the conversations that I've been having, you know, with the residents during this time, as you know, that the daily service delivery gauges the heart and pulse of most communities, especially at this time. You know, we had to heed the call to come here and visit this community today. And of course, they spoke to me about a lot of social ills that they face as, you know, a township, you know, and from what we know is that this township has been around since the early 1990s. However, till today, residents are still complaining about the lack of service delivery in the area. And I do have some of those residents with me joining me today. Siswami sikbingelele sikwamkele ku daily service delivery gauge. It's great to have you on the show. I guess khulume ngezinto enishoda ngazo njengomphakathi wala Olivenhout Bosch.
Hi, basically it's everything. There's no streets, there's nothing. We can spend more than a week without electricity, whereas we've got things to do. And then besides that, out of nowhere. And then the other thing, this side of the street, there's R55. So whenever our kids need to play, they have to jump across the street to go and play, go to parking. Whenever they need library, they have to jump again. By a library, they enjoy going to libraries and stuff, but they can't do that because it's far. I'm not gonna go every day to Kapangwan or Ayobala, no. And again in Relimo, but better yet, still we don't have tarot, we don't have anything. And I highly how feel it vote. But not like a Ganda by its but nothing is getting better. It's getting worse by the day.
All right. So I'm to reach out.
They've been trying, the elders, they've been trying since understand it's been long. Lorna, we've been raising our voices, but I'm over meeting. We raise our voices, but still, understand. They only come here and bye Ziza, like whenever vote. But after that, it's quiet too.
All right. Let's bring in another gentleman as well into the conversation. And of course, Criselda, you know, as we were coming in here, we spoke to some residents and some parents who were speaking to us about some of the social ills that, you know, as a community that they face. Just this past week, another young man was burned to death in what was believed to be a vigilantism incident in which it was said that, you know, he was alleged to be a so-called Nyaupe boy in our community. So now community members saying that there's all these social ills because young people in this particular community are unable to have recreational facilities to kill time during the day. My brother, welcome to the daily service delivery gauge. Let's speak about what you as a community member of Olivenhout Bosch would like to see happening in your community.
Yeah, thanks, big man. And not big man, government are on again, halfway. because government are na hanu jwale ke re le ba ahi ba mo 22 re na 22 are na service kore everything are na mo 22 especially this ward ya 77 kore e ko morao compared to the other ward tse le reng ke ndi hona mo Olivenhout bana ba rena mo 22 es lo na o bona ra shiba ba tetse di strata rena di sports facility bana ba rena he ba lokela mempeteng ho diwa bana so all those stuffs again ra shota ka dio tse dintsi mo 22 then how wa level le 3 ke go ra struggle everything ra struggle but yet we are voting and still we are going to vote so how are we going to vote for those people belo renkeng ba re delay in everything so maker government are in higher meet half away as government le rena ke ngele youth re khono re ke remelele ke lo sanila rena cause ke rena ke re ke future ka usana so government are na heritage then king fair chance because ke na no re ke dio tse dintsi di ona government is just that king they are not that wild minded like a youth I can't understand that. So the Burkina Faso government are na high youth is back then youth king it take over big man.
Okay, we're bringing in another young lady into the conversation, and of course, Griselda, as you can see, this is set against the backdrop of the youth vote, the youth electorate today, as young people, of course, have come in to have this conversation with us. To speak to us about what some of you guys would like to see happening in your community.
Just like developments in general, because as you can see, our neighbors, we're surrounded by Stone Ridge, like all the rich classes are just right here. And then you look at us, we're just so poor. Illegal migrants are a lot here. There's just a lot. We don't have sports facilities. The electricity goes and comes back after a week. No water. The kids just don't have anything to do. Like there's no sports structure, nothing, no libraries. We're just living because it's a place, yeah.
Okay, Griselda, there you have it there. We now will hand back to you in studio.
Thank you very much to co-anchor Mxolisi Masango out there in Olivenhout Bosch, listening to the elderly as well as the young people in their area. Them, of course, complaining about service delivery issues, what they're hoping to see, and whether there'll be any change come after the election on Monday certainly remains to be seen. Let's take a look at some of the videos that you have sent through, some of the viewer interaction. Let's hear what you have to say.
As an eligible voter of the Republic of South Africa, I feel like there is a huge need for an advocacy when it comes to this so that we can be updated, and that must happen prior.
The Overstrand is administratively very efficient, so of course it gets clean audits year on year. But in reality, audits don't account for whether services are delivered equitably or not, whether they redress the imbalances of the past, whether spatial planning is practical or sustainable, what percentage of municipal employees are related to one another or friends with one another, who municipal land is leased to, for how much, for how long, or the struggles of the poor and working class who make the town tick. There are many examples of how the municipality is failing when it comes to service delivery, and most of them point to political interference.
Umasipala akondifumana ndakhe ndafumana ijob uthola amaphepha kodwa ke amanzi noko siyakhala ngamanzi nombane enkosini.
Mina ngumduduzi ngwamasango ngisemkhanya kude district ngaphansi kweJozini municipality ngilapha kwaJobe kwa 3. Into ehlungu ngohulumeni kwa-NC ukhohlisa abantu, ufika uthembisa izethembiso ungazifezi. Kwafika umama uNomsadube ngo-2011 kwaJobe kwa-3 athi uzokhomba abantu isihlanza amanzi kuze kube yimanje leyo nto ayizange yafeza. Asinamanzi, sixakekile, amanzi sabanga ney'nkomo ney'mbuzi ney'mbongolo ney'mfene kubi kuleya ndawo. Ngiyafisa impela uhulumeni akasisize kuleya ndawo ngoba sixakekile indaba yamanzi. Amanzi nje ayinkinga.
A very good afternoon to you once again. Thank you very much for staying with us here on the Daily Service Delivery Gauge. So, eligible voters will on the 1st of November cast their ballots in the local government elections across the country. So, now as a voter, have you ever wondered about some of the processes that take place after voting? So, to answer some of the questions about that, we're joined via Zoom by Mawethu Moseri, who's the Deputy Chief Electoral Officer. Mr. Moseri, very good afternoon to you. Thanks for making time for us. So, take us through the process from the moment that the voting stations close. What happens?
Good afternoon, Griselda, and good afternoon to your viewers. The process when we close voting stations at 2100 is first to prepare the voting station for the count, obviously a big table, given the number of voters registered at each venue. Next, after that, is then to position party agents so that they have a full view to what the staff members would do. And then they will do the count, which, because of 3 ballots in many of our areas in the country, will be a count 3 times. In the metros, it will be a count 2 times because we have 2 ballot papers in the metros. And then from there on, when they conclude the count, they will then write the results on the result slip, and the party agents at that voting station must co-sign the result to just authenticate that the numbers that the official has put on the result slip are correct. Obviously, if they are domestic observers or international observers, they can also add their signatures. After that, the result is inserted in a tamper-proof envelope for its transportation.
All right. So we usually see, during an election, there are possibly some political parties or people who are voting for certain political parties wanting to declare votes in certain areas, what they believe or how they believe they may have fared. But who declares? Who has the rightful, authority to declare the election?
We have party agents throughout the voting process, and when we conclude the result, and obviously what party agents normally do is that immediately the result is finalized at a venue, they start to distribute it to their political party. But that is not an official result until the commission announces that result as the result from that venue, as well as until the commission can announce the result of a ward, that the tally for this ward has now been concluded and the winner of the ward is candidate so-and-so, who is either an independent or a party candidate. But what we wish to emphasize is that it is not the official result if announced by any political leader or political party. It is a result only when the commission does so.
Thank you very much for that. I'm sure we'll see quite a lot of that, as usually happens. What then happens, Mr. Moseri, in the event that there is a dispute? If you have, some of the political parties or some individuals declaring victory in some particular areas, what happens if there's a dispute? How does the IEC handle that?
Griselda, your volume was very low there. I missed the half part of your question. If you could repeat for me.
Yes, absolutely, I can. What happens in an instance when a dispute is then declared? If you have a situation where a political party does not agree with the result from a particular area? Mr. Moseri, are you able to hear me? Mr. Moseri, are you still able to hear me? All right, it seems we may have lost the IEC's Mawethu Moseri, who was in conversation with us about what happens after, of course, you've cast that ballot, the process to the declaration of the results of that election. Thank you very much indeed for speaking to us. Apologies there for that break in transmission. Let's take a listen let's bring Michael, in fact. He's our first caller on the program this afternoon. Michael, very good afternoon to you. Thanks for getting in touch with us. What's your comment this afternoon? Michael, good afternoon. Can you hear us? Michael Mkhofane from Mogale City. Good afternoon.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Michael, good afternoon. What is your comment on the program?
Yes, I see service delivery yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but yeah, at Chief Mohali, the problem with some like the drainage, the street drainage.
Ufuna ukukhuluma babu Michael?
But
What's one ntate?
I want to buy my nigga to for train. I can tell you now, man. No Chief Mohali. It's too late. And I have to that area. Mujana lo kana go jarate go ba ka ntwela ni.
Ntate.
Problem ya di ba ite di dile na ke tsa mo strategy. Mo to ba di treatment go le metsi gata. A khone crossetsana mo di treatment. Asa kala yana go tshwana go strategy.
Ntate Michael Mkhofane, thank you very much for your time. Siyabulela ngesikhathi sakho. Obviously complaining about certain service delivery challenges in Mogale City. Let's quickly move on to Philip Hadebe in Emalahleni. Philip, a very good afternoon to you. What is your comment this afternoon?
Ninjani mama.
Sikhona Nkosi kunjani baba?
Sivukile mama, sivukile. Mina into engayisho nje kuphela ngithi uyangizwa kahle sisi.
Ngikuzwa kahle baba. Proceed please.
Yeah, ngithi mina la sihlala khona sineminyaka, sinabazali bayashona. Sihlala kule ndawo, sihlala khona sinabantwana bakhula, abanye bahlala emizini yabo. So lokho kunjalo, kodwa ke naso kufuneka amavoti kumele sigijime.
Oko besenza izithembiso babu Philippi bathina ama councillor akhoyo lapho kuleyo area Jebu City nje
khohlwa ngama councillor wena sisi ngoba abasisizi ngalutho sizobavota sibabeka ama councillor but umehluka ngeke kube khona uyayibona abayenzi umehluko tu kuzobabona nje kube bona baxabana sibone mina ngigijima lona fika khulumeka kamnandi lona khulumeka kamnandi sihlele sinje awukho umehluko siubona wena mama ngoba mabathi amavoti sogijima uyabona umbutho wethu enzi wena mama wenza ukhama ukufika endabeni yokuthi sivote bashesha bagijima baze kithi bonke labantu bamaphathi if bafuna amavoti bazabagijima kithi bafuna ukuthi size sizobavotela abaqali bazolungisa qala la kithi la
niyavota niyavota ngomvulo tata
sizoye sovota sizothini wena mama sizoyenza kanjani ukuthi uvote uzogijima uyovota kodwa ke into eyiwali ebuhlungu bengicela ngathi ungaba mina be-SABC kube ne-cameras zizoza la nizobona la Witbank la sihlala khona ukuthi sihlala endaweni enjani angazi ukuthi singanithola ningakwazi ukuthi ngifike lana or izoba kanjani lento leyo.
Yeah. Babu Philippi siyabonga kakhulu ngesikhathi sakho. Philip, of course, complaining about service delivery in his area, saying that we should just forget about the councillors. Nothing is happening in their area. They're going to participate in the election in his area on Monday, but he sees that there's absolutely no change that's taking place. Sis Tobeka, very good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for joining us from Buffalo City. What is your comment?
Ndinamanzi lapha phambi kwendlu ndake ndowaripota kumasipala andilawo imali yowenza kho xa ndivuka sifuna ndivuke ndiwakhe wathi akumntu makazenzele aseyadi ngoku andinamali ngobe ndicela uncedo aborhulumente andincede.
Mama, divile ke ngoku kubaphathi bethu besixela uba you are someone who is living with disabilities. Kunjani kuwe nje busithi kunamanzi nje phambi kwendlu yakho akho kwamntu oncedisayo pha?
Hayi kunzima kaloku ndiyasokola kusasa funa ndivuke ndithe la manzi ndiwagale edreyini kho kusasa ndivuka ndithe la manzi ndiwagale edreyini and kunzima nophumba kaloku kwale ndandihlala kwayikho right lendlu ndihleli phambi kwayo
akho kwamntu oncedisayo ke ngoku mama ingathi kunzima pha kakhulu
ondincedisayo
ewe noko mhlawumbi abantwana bakhoyo pha okanye kwamntu okuncedisayo apha
hayi andinamntana cha kuye kube kumama kwabakhona bazoninceda nje nakunzima kaloku nokhutshwa apha phandle ndihlala nobrother wami okwakhubazekileyo naye
ungafuna ke ngoku oocouncillor bathini ke ngoku mama noko sekuzoyokuvotwa ke ngoku ngomvulo ungafuna ukubona ntoni kulo area yakho mama ukuthi noko kube ngconywana
ndingafuna basincede kaloku urhulumente izinto esizinqwenelayo sizifumane yabona le ndlu jonga zandifumana urhulumente le ndlu sayithenge ukuba ndazifumane ndlu ngoku ingaseko ndincede kule ndlu ndiphume ndingene ndikwazi uba zonke into zam belula.
Mam Tobeka siyabonga kakhulu ngexesha lakho. Mam Tobeka from Buffalo City, they're complaining. She is someone living with disability, saying that it's extremely difficult for her. There's also lots of water that is in front of her house she's struggling to manage. Let's take a look at some of the tweets that have come through. Andisile Fono says, good day. Little do I know, and I feel like as the eligible voters of the RSA need advocacy on this, but that must not be done on elections, period. It must be done far prior to the elections. Andisile, thank you very much for getting in touch with us. Paige, thank you very much for coming through once again. You say, the party that will bring change and opens job opportunities helps youth to develop their skills and broaden their knowledge and improve their lives and society. Paige, thank you very much indeed for getting in touch with us. We really do appreciate all the participation that we get here on the program on the Daily Service Delivery Gauge. That's all we have time for this afternoon. We'll see you again tomorrow. Be safe. Good afternoon.